It's time to get your morning started with the news you need to know.
News update.
This is what's trending with DJ and PK. Hashtag NFL.
And what if you get that opportunity? I know you will want to with Dak. What would that feel like?
It's going to be painful. You know what I mean? Dak's my guy. He was always like a good mentor for me. But you know what it is. I always told him if I ever faced him that, it'll be a great matchup. So I'm excited to see what Sunday brings us. So.
Our Subaru Outback most was the moment they walked to and that's why our family will only drive a Subaru. Subaru is rated #1 in safety, higher than any other automotive brand.
Green Bay Packers pass rusher Micah Parsons admitting it's going to be painful to chase and potentially sack Dallas Cowboy quarterback Dak Prescott as Parsons prepares to face his former team. PK, you take the money. You got to go get the guy, right?
Yeah, but I think that's a situation where it's just now on a Wednesday or Tuesday when he makes that statement. I think as he's chasing him, he's not going to be thinking, oh, that's my buddy.
He's going to be thinking, I got to get sacks. That's what they pay me for. I got to get him.
NFL players, they want sacks. There's no question about it.
Hey now. Tampa Bay Buccaneers wide receiver Mike Evans expected to miss 3 to 4 weeks with a strained left hamstring. He picked it up this past Sunday in the Bucs' victory over the Jets. He missed 3 weeks last season due to a similar injury and also missed multiple games in 2019 due to injuries to his right hamstring. Mike Evans is a rock for that team. That guy can go out and seems like he can get 80 catches and 1,000 yards at any moment, any season.
Well, but he's hurt, so maybe he was a rock. He's getting older.
Yeah, right?
Injuries happen.
I thought that was Yock and Q, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't. I just do my job, I let you guys figure out the
Way to power on through, PK.
Yeah. I once did a show in Sacramento, NCAA tournament. The entire time, for 3 hours, there was feedback.
Really? And you just pressed on through?
I went and saw the doctor to remove the blood out of my ears at the end of the show.
Doc, you got to help me. Drill straight into my brain, Doc.
Everything I said came back to haunt me, literally.
Well, I'm glad that's fixed.
But I don't hear it anymore.
Washington Commanders wide receiver Terry McLaurin seeking multiple opinion on options for the quadriceps injury he sustained this past Sunday against the Raiders. His status this week is to be determined. Man, no matter what we say about the NFL, PK, we get injuries here every day. Important players, teams all over the league. You got to be good, and then somehow you got to be able to survive all this. You got to maybe get a little lucky and not have as many injuries as somebody else.
Oh, yeah.
You got to figure out a way to have backups who, man, if they can't, you just can't replace Mike Evans, but can you replace 70 or 80% of his production? It's just such a grind. These guys are going down left and right, and we're 3 weeks in.
Kyle announced Hunter Andrews is going to be gone. He's an emerging tight end for them,
Yep.
and so that's a season ender. And Urban always talked about that magical year that they had. They had very few, if any, injuries.
Right.
Yeah.
The Giants are turning to Jaxson Dart, the former Corner Canyon Charger, as their starting quarterback. Russell Wilson will serve as Dart's primary backup after starting the first 3 games of the season and getting benched.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Dart gets his chance.
And following him. Obviously, I know guys who know him, who coached him, and they have high endorsements at multiple levels, not at the NFL level, but at multiple levels. I'm excited to see. It was obvious it was going to come, whether it was this month, next month, or even next year. It was going to happen, and let's see what he can do, man. Even give him a spark. He got, if nothing else, with the rookies, him and Scattaboo, they're re-energizing the fan base there in the metropolitan area.
Well, there's no doubt about that. There is hope in the short run, but, man, they do need some wins, especially if they're guys who were there before, who energized them a few years ago before they fell out of favor. If guys like Daniel Jones are going to go and turn the Colts around, maybe the Colts are just 3-0 and it's a soft schedule and they'll come back to earth. But that has got to be painful to watch their guys move on and suddenly have success. But they got a new crop of guys. Maybe these guys can get it rolling. DJ and PK.
Hashtag college football.
Deion Sanders said the Buffs do not have revenge on their mind as they prepare to take on BYU. Obviously, the Cougars routed the Buffaloes in last season's Alamo Bowl. He says, we ain't with that get-back stuff. I ain't with that get-back stuff. I'm with that let's get them stuff. They played their butts off, kicked our butts in a bowl game. Now we have a whole new team.
Yeah, well, he's absolutely right, especially more than ever with the transfer portal.
More than ever, right?
Grizzly Bear Bachmeyer had nothing to do with this, and the guys who were playing quarterback for Colorado, the anticipated starter, had nothing to do with it. I never really bought that, even back when it was more what we defined as normal. But certainly now, forget it.
Yeah, when you're getting 50, 60 new guys on the team, it's just hard to think. Guys are trying to hold on to their job. Guys are trying to play well to get to the NFL or whatever. So
yeah.
There's too much other stuff. There's way too much turnover now. The Oklahoma State Cowboys fired Mike Gundy. Their longtime head coach is out. 20-plus seasons, 19 straight winning seasons at one point, but 0-9 in the conference last year and losing to Tulsa this year. Off the field, there's been conflict with him. They'd reworked his contract to make this a little easier to do, and now they have done it. I guess it's only surprising because he's just been there so long, but if you just look at the last few months, it's not really that surprising at all.
Yeah, if you're just going to go the snapshot, and that's what we have in sports today, certainly at the college level now more than ever. I mean, with these kids getting paid, I mean he got the job. They listed him as the second longest coach because I think he was hired literally earlier in the week from Kyle Whittingham, and so now Kyle is the second guy over there. Iowa's the longest, and Kyle has it as now as the second. And you look at his record, man. It took him 3 seasons. The only losing seasons he had was his first season and last season. And just for comparison's sake, Kyle's had 3, and under no circumstance am I saying Kyle should be fired. That's absolutely the furthest thing from my mind, literally. But I'm just throwing it out there for comparison's sake. It took him 3 years, and he had a losing record. The second and third seasons were, I think, 7 and 6, somewhere in there, which makes sense because in those days it took longer to rebuild. You just couldn't revamp the roster. But then it was on, man. And he had great times. He's a former quarterback there, and he was an assistant coach there, among other places, before he got the gig. And he's been there for 2 decades. It's sad that it's ending this way, but you got to win. And the other stuff, off the field stuff. If he was rolling out 10 wins a season, it wouldn't matter. I mean, Michael Wilbon might be offended. I understand that, but as long as you're winning, you get to do basically whatever you want there. And so it's sad. The coordinator from the Falcons, Robinson, played there, was a quarterback there. As I understand it, he's been tabbed as a leading candidate. We'll have on Trammell tomorrow to talk about it. But, yeah, it's the fall from grace for a really, really solid program, metaphorically, was like virtually overnight. It's amazing.
Everything was awesome until it wasn't. And then it was a long way from awesome. I mean, that wasn't, that wasn't a 5-7 campaign. That was 3 wins and the bottom fell out. 9 straight. And the fact that they weren't just losses, some of them weren't even competitive.
No.
And then you got the off-the-field tension, too. When people are pulling for you, sometimes they'll give you a little more time, a little more rope, but they weren't pulling for him. So there you go. Lost 11 of 12, and that's the end of that. It didn't help them that Oregon blew them out 69-3. I mean, going to Oregon, you're realistically you're going to lose, but 69-3, that is hard to take. So now they move on. The other college news, John Mateer in Oklahoma, starting quarterback, broken bone in his right throwing hand. No timeline for him to be back, but he's having surgery, so he's going to be out for a while. Some reports say it'll be about 4 weeks.
Yeah,
he's going to miss the Texas game.
I think they can withstand that, though, when you look at their schedule, because the schedule in this month, which I think probably, again, we can ask Trammell tomorrow, it gets real tough in November. I mean, the last from right now with the rankings, and they were talking about it this morning. That's why it's on my mind as I was driving in listening. October 25th, they literally close the season from October 25th till the end. Right now, every team is ranked. Yeah. So you would take the Texas game, miss that to get the other games. So if he can come back, and he maintains his ability that he had or regains it, they probably should be okay because I think they've got a bye this week, and then it's Kent State, Texas you mentioned, and South Carolina. Then it's on. I mean, this schedule is really, really tough. There's no doubt about it. And the kid that they have, I think his name's Hawkins, he started a few games last year. So they have the potential to be okay.
You know, it does come down, NIL is such a new thing. Quarterbacks don't want to sit, so if you pay them enough, are they willing to sit, especially if you show them the stats on how often backups get to play?
Well, yeah, too. I think with Mateer, it was thought of have big season, go NFL.
Right. Yeah, right. You're only sitting 1 year, right? Yeah. So are you willing to do that so that you have a backup? You have what Texas Tech had. They went to the backup. They got 3 touchdowns on 3 straight possessions, and you're just throwing the ball.
Right, and they have a backup who's played.
So, and 4 weeks is just a guess, but the first 3 weeks are bye week Kent State. You got to figure it's 2 for sure. So bye week Kent State, and then Texas and at South Carolina.
As I said.
And then, like you said, oh, man. There was a reason a lot of people didn't think the Sooners weren't picked to win the SEC. I mean, these schedules, they aren't even. They aren't close to even in some places, and Oklahoma definitely got a tough schedule this year. No doubt about that. DJ and PK.
Hashtag NBA.
Celtic star Jason Tatum did not rule out returning this coming season if he's able to recover from the Achilles tendon tear he suffered in the Eastern Conference semifinals in the NBA playoffs. That surprises me. I mean, I get players want to be back, but I think of that as a year-long injury. And I also think when you come back mid-season, it's not the same as a real season. You can be a fraction of your former self. I would think they got to be pretty cautious with him. They can't have him re-injuring that. And how good can he possibly be if he sat out the full season?
I don't know, man. I'm not a doctor.
Phoenix Suns facing several lawsuits from current and former employees told employees this spring that in order to retain their jobs, they need to sign an agreement limiting their ability to sue the team over workforce matters. They'll be submitted first to confidential mandatory mediation. Suns maybe need to quit doing stuff that has everybody suing them. I mean, that'd be another theory, too.
Yeah, but this former employees or even current. Is this Ishbia or the other guy? I don't know that.
Yeah, I don't know. DJ and PK.
Hashtag college basketball.
Iowa State guard Tamin Lipsey, their career leader in steals, suffered a knee injury that's expected to sideline him 4 to 6 weeks. He started all 103 games he's played for Iowa State to this point in his career. 103 games, PK. That's a lot of basketball.
Oh.
That is a ton of experience.
Oh, yeah. It's dripping.
It's dripping?
With experience, yeah.
It's just dripping off.
Well, I mean, that's a team that figures to compete with the Cougars and others, but it is only 4 to 6, so we'll see.
Should be good for the conference season.
Yes, exactly.
And staying in the Big 12 a little closer to home, Will Openshaw commits to BYU basketball. Timpview guy.
I have no idea about him. This is the first time hearing of him.
He's a 6'10" forward from Timpview High School.
6'11" with the buzz cut.
Yeah, pretty much.
Nice.
Plays with Dean Ruckert, who just recently committed to BYU.
What grade is he in?
He is a member of the 2020, this upcoming class, 2026. He's going to go on a mission, though, so he's planning on being back for 2028.
Oh, yeah, Kevin Young will be in the NBA by then.
There's always that possibility. That's the undertone to all of this. Will he be still in Pro Bowl?
Just kidding, BYU fans.
NCAA made history yesterday. They declared former G League athlete Derek Darlin eligible to play for Santa Clara. Darlin's a native of the Central African Republic, spent the past 2 seasons playing in the G League after being a graduate of the NBA Academy Africa. Well, now that everybody's getting paid, you could have played minor league basketball and go to college.
Yeah, I don't
How about
understand
that?
it. Junior college doesn't count. You can get paid. I've never understood these guys. What's the kid from BYU? They got him, and then they determined he was a junior or something.
Oh, yeah, it's the forward.
Like they're pulling
Moskovich, yeah.
slots out of a hat, pieces of paper.
He played in EuroLeague for multiple years.
Find out who in your family you're going to buy Christmas gifts for that year. You know what I mean? I can't. Who can figure this stuff out?
Now, all of a sudden, everybody in the top college basketball leagues is pivoting, thinking, all right, are there any former G League guys I need to put on my team? Talk about older, more experienced athletes, right? DJ and PK.
Hashtag Major League Baseball.
In the pitch, swinging a high fly ball, well hit, left center, throw Armstrong back, it's gonna go, home run! Francisco Alvarez stops and looks into the Mets dugout before he gets to first base. Now he goes into his home run trap, and the Mets have regained the lead. It is 9-7 New York.
Here's the pitch. Swung on, hit in the air, deep to right field. Ryan O'Hearn has gotten it done. A grand slam in the bottom of the first inning. And the Padres jump all over Zimmerman and the Brewers. It is 4-0, just one out into their night. Swung on, base hit left field. Tawa rounding third. Here comes Cosgrove to the plate. Diamondbacks win. Do you believe?
Diamondbacks were down against the Dodgers, but they rally, PK. Get off the deck, trailing 4-0 in the seventh inning. 3 in the seventh, 2 in the ninth, and they win 5-4. They're just one game out of the last wild card spot.
No, well, they entered the day one game out, so they didn't gain anything.
But they almost lost it, and it's pretty late to give up a game.
Yeah, but that's because Shohei is on a pitch count. I mean, he dominated him.
He did dominate.
And
they keep letting him go a little longer.
Yeah, he went 6. I watched the entire game. I was exchanging texts with an old college roommate of mine who's a L.A. Dodger fan, and he's texting me, watch, we got the worst bullpen in the entire baseball. He said, we got the worst bullpen ever. And so I looked it up, blown saves. And sure enough, they lead the league, they lead both leagues, as a matter of fact, in blown saves. And then they end up, which is kind of ironic because then they end up blowing it. But Shohei, he throws 100, but that's they call it the sweeper now these days for some reason. And these guys are just flailing. They were like swatting at flies in the dark, man. He reminded me of Randy Johnson from the other side.
Yeah, him being a righty and Randy being a lefty.
Yeah.
So can they get away from the bullpen here early on and say take 2 starters and have one guy pitch 4 innings and one guy pitch 5 and sideline the bullpen guys? There's so many days off early in the playoffs. I don't think you can do it later in the playoffs.
But what difference does it make? So whether you go out in the first or the World Series, for them, it's a bust.
Yeah, at some point the bullpen's going to have to come through.
Yeah. So sure.
We just see unorthodox stuff done in the playoffs, and I was just thinking, what unorthodox stuff do they do?
Well, can Shohei can he be taken out as a pitcher and still go back in? He's a DH.
No, that's why they talked about him having to play in the outfield.
Yeah. So throw him every few batters. I mean, do whatever you want. I mean, I just can't get people out. You're in big trouble. You can have all the offense you want if you can't get people out. I mean, he's like the Cubs. My gosh, Cubs! The Diamondbacks would actually be in first place if the freaking Cubs hadn't lost 5 in a row. Can you win a ball game? You're up 6-1, you fetchers.
The Mets beat the Cubs 9-7, and it was 6-1 in the fourth. And the Mets went for 5 in the fifth, and they went back and forth. And the Mets got 2 in the eighth to win it 9-7. So the Mets now 1 game in front of the Reds, who lost. They had been tied. So the Mets have a game on the Reds and a game on the Diamondbacks in their race for that last playoff spot. Now, over in the American League, how about Cleveland? 10.5 games out of the division lead September 1st, and now on September 24th, they are in first place. And Detroit is now holding down the last wild card, only a game in front of Houston. Detroit could fall all the way out.
I know. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's a major collapse. And good on the Guardians.
Yeah. It's the Red Sox, the Tigers, and the Astros for 3 wild cards. Unless the Tigers can retake the division lead, then that would put Cleveland in that wild card battle. Boston's a game up. Houston's a game back. DJ and PK.
Hashtag golf.
Due to bad weather in the forecast, the Ryder Cup moved up its traditional opening ceremony to today from Thursday. And the event is typically when the captains announce their lineup for the first session Friday. So, saving the opening ceremony. And they don't really have much time because they're playing 36 holes Thursday and Friday. It's not like a tour event where you can stop playing for 3 or 4 hours and you can make it up. There isn't much extra time there to squeeze out to be sitting around watching bad weather.
Yeah, I mean, this is just classic East Coast weather. I keep on my phone my old hometown in New Jersey, just the weather. I don't know why I do it. I mean, I only get back there every few years. I was there this past summer. And today, 60%. Tomorrow, I leave no doubt, 100% chance of rain. Friday, 65%. Sunday, 60%. I mean, this is what you get back there. That's why nobody has a sprinkler system.
What is trending is brought to you by Shamrock Plumbing. There's no job too big or too small. Get the personal touch with Shamrock Plumbing. Coming up, Riley Jensen's going to join us, talk college football at 8 o'clock. Brian Howell, Colorado Buffaloes beat writer for the Buff Zone and the Boulder Daily Camera. At 9 o'clock to give us a lowdown on the BYU Colorado game. What does he think of CU through the first month of games? We'll talk with him at 9 o'clock. DJ and PK, hot takes or toast? We'll get the question of the day next. Stay with us.
It's game week for the Utes, and the KSL Sports Zone is getting you ready for kickoff. The Utes head back east for their first Big 12 road game of the season as they get set for a showdown with West Virginia. Listen all week long for the best coverage of Utah football. Then catch college football Saturday game day at 10 a.m. with the postgame show immediately following the game on KSLSports.com.
Let's go then. Let's go, baby.
Your home for the best coverage of Utah football is live on air, online, and on the KSL Sports app. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Nominate the youth sports volunteer that you know for the Hercules Hero of the Week. Submit your nomination to KSLSports.com/contest. Listen every Thursday afternoon to JJ and Alex for the winner. Help us celebrate the efforts of those volunteers making an impact with the Hercules Hero of the Week. And get this, it's sponsored by Hercules First Federal Credit Union and Beehive Meals. Their menu changes all the time. It goes on and on and on.
Got to mix it up. People want to eat different stuff.
I've had that stuff. It's good.
Yeah. I'm the one who'll eat the same thing over and over again. My wife's like, you keep eating the same stuff. Like, yeah, I like it. I don't think I'm wired right in that regard. Maybe in other regards too, but certainly that one. All right, PK, it is time for the question of the morning. Hot takes or toast? The Utah Jazz waive KJ Martin. You surprised? Good move? What's behind it? It does feel like there's more players than minutes, and this suggests maybe that the draft picks are going to get played and they're going to find out what they have. And I don't want to say that they're going to play the young guys because KJ Martin is only 24 years old, but at the same time he's been in the league longer. He's more of a known quantity. And I guess that is why he's out there looking for another team now. I would think the prospect of sitting on the bench, watching the young guys play, and maybe not really being able to compete for it because they want to see what they have, you can see where an agent, a GM, a coach, and a player, you can see where that would lead to some hard conversations that probably led to this.
Yeah, but then what do you do with Anderson, Love, and Niang?
I suspect that they're going to play those guys and that they will be here. But, if you'd asked me about KJ Martin 2 days ago, I would have said the same thing.
You would have?
Yeah, I didn't.
I would have been hard pressed to know that he was even on the team.
I wouldn't have thought that they were going to waive him.
Well, they save, I think salary cap-wise, several million, up to $10 million maybe.
Yeah. They do, that's, but they also, we were talking with Locke about how they spent money in the marketing deal because you got to get to the floor. You've got to spend I think Locke said it was 90% of the cap.
Well, it's not to save money. It's to maybe use the money for other...
Somebody else.
Yeah.
Something else you want to add to the team.
And what do they have there? I mean, I really don't need to see Kyle Anderson play 1 minute for the Jazz. Not one. I mean, nothing against him. He's had a really fine career.
He's 32 years old,
Yeah.
and, it wouldn't surprise any of us, teams are going to have injuries, and somebody's going to need a guy who can come in and play and be a veteran and move the ball and hit the open shots and do that. I mean, he's not a superstar, obviously, but he can play, and he can help you, especially – there's always teams, and the roster's changed so much. But last year we were talking about the Warriors, the Suns, and the Denver Nuggets. They all had great starting groups, but they needed some vets off the bench. Now, Denver in the offseason seems to have addressed that. Phoenix, meanwhile, is tearing everything down. But we're going to see those teams again, especially once injuries and attrition hit. So, maybe he's just a week or two away from being moved himself. Who knows? I get your point. How many minutes are those three guys going to play? And how many minutes are they going to take away from Hendricks or Filipowski or whoever?
I want to see Ace Bailey and Flipper play until they beg Hardy to take them out because they're so gassed. And Hendricks, I think, needs to be brought along. If he hadn't had the leg injury and he had in his season that he showed well last year. Now, none of that happened, so we're starting, in a sense, from scratch from that point of view. But then bring him along a little slower to see where he's at physically because of his situation. But the other two guys, yeah.
If Ace Bailey's playing 35 minutes a night, we can all stand up and applaud.
And I want to see Flipper. I want to see these guys go out there and play until they're gassed or they've shown you're not ready for this. You just can't, you can't force it if it's not there. But I want them at the start to play as much because who cares if you're losing games? And I don't buy that crap. I get so sick of the cliches that, oh, man, you got to be careful because you don't want to ruin his confidence and then he'll be shot for the rest of his life. If that's the case, then he's mentally weak anyway. Freaking Kobe shot air balls. Did it ruin his confidence? No. Why not have the tough situations now? If I hear anybody say that, I am going to pitch a fit, and I'm going to get right in their face, and I'm going to say, don't ever say that again. Do you understand me?
Your fit pitching ability is not doubted. So what's the difference between that and you saying with Ace Bailey, well, you can't force feed it if it's not there? Isn't that a different way of saying the same thing?
But it's going to be there. Because my margin of not being there is like Grand Canyon wide. I'm saying if it's the Cody Williams last year, where it was it was embarrassing.
Well, what we really want is answers. And if the answer is, okay, you're overmatched, you're not there yet, now play somebody else. But what we really want is answers.
Bailey might be overmatched, but so what? He's the highest pick you've had in years, the highest pick that this group of leadership has had, and everybody thought he should have been higher. And so did you get fortunate? Yeah. Several years ago, 20-plus years ago, they got fortunate and then rode that for 20 years. And maybe that's the same thing here. I don't know. But I want to find out, and I want this kid to play as much as possible now. What's the point of having the 25-26 season if, he's struggling a little bit and his confidence is wavering? Find out what type of intestinal fortitude he has. Nothing is going to be handed to you in this league. And if you have a confidence issue, then there's no way a coach is going to be able to instill confidence. I don't buy that. You can compliment the guy all you want. And if the guy still goes out there and doesn't do it, did Del Harris give Kobe Bryant confidence? No. Who gave it to him? Himself.
There are ways of bringing guys along. For the guys who aren't quite there yet, they can make sure they get their bench minutes against the bench guys on the other team who aren't quite as good. Keep them away from getting bludgeoned by star players. They can still bring them along and get playing time.
Let them get bludgeoned. So what? That you're feeding right into the cliches that we know we're going to hear.
No.
Yes.
Okay, fine.
Let them play.
Somebody's got to play the bench. Somebody's got to play the bench minutes. Somebody's got to play the starter minutes.
Can you repeat that? I didn't understand that. Take it slower.
Which 8 guys do you want to play at the same time? Somebody's got to sit, PK. If this guy who isn't performing as well, it could be that guy. Plus, you don't want to reward guys, don't you? Want to challenge them? Hey, you got to earn these minutes. You got to play better. You got to improve. I mean, that was thinking about Kobe shooting the air balls. He knew he had to improve.
Right.
And he did. So it made the decision
easy. So you're going to have him improve by sitting on the bench. It makes no sense.
Well, all 8 guys, all 9 draft picks, can't play at the same time.
I mentioned 2 guys. You're the ones who mentioned 8, 9 guys. I've only said 2 guys here. That's it.
You got
3 possible with Hendricks.
Oh, really? And the rest of them, you don't have the curiosity
do what
over?
you're saying. But I want to see these 2. Apparently, I didn't make myself clear. I want to see these 2 play until their tongues are hanging out. I want to find out, how good are you? And I don't care if it's a tough situation and you're going up against somebody who's bigger, stronger, tougher, and older. I don't care. So what? I'm done babying people. Where does that get you? Forget that. Where does that get you? No. I want these 2 guys to see what we have here. I mentioned those 2. You can do whatever the crap you want with the rest of them. I don't care. I want to see these 2 guys being run out there as much as possible. That's my point. Somehow you got to bench guys and 8 guys, and I don't know how you got there, but you did. I don't care. Do whatever you want.
I didn't know you'd given up as much on the other guys. Not given up.
Well, I only mentioned those 2.
Well, okay. But
and then with Hendricks, because of his injury situation and where he's at, I don't have any idea where he's at. Right. You know what I mean?
No, I do. If he's on some kind of minutes count, a pitch count type of thing, I guess we'd get that. They may not. I don't know. We'll see what they say about him. That could limit him as far as playing back-to-backs or playing big minutes or whatever. That wouldn't surprise me if they brought him along slowly in that regard.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, we're still going to judge him in, whatever 10, 15, 20, 25 minutes they okay him for.
Right. Well, I'm going to judge him accordingly, and we all are. If you don't have that this year, then turn off the TV, turn off the radio, and don't pay attention. But I want to pay attention because I'm looking for angles. I'm looking for stuff that can bring some form of optimism here. Because if you're just going to go by record, then it could be viewed as a dire situation. But I think you have to go beyond that, and you have to look inside the team and what is the objective? What are they trying to accomplish here by doing this, right? And so that's where I'm at, to see the development. And the 2 guys I want to see get the most opportunity to develop are Bailey and Filipowski, unless they just absolutely can't handle it whatsoever. But I don't anticipate that because Kyle is going into his 3rd year. So come on now. I mean, you're overmatched or whatever. I mean, what level of player is this young man, right? I mean, he lit it up in the summer league. I got that. That's not the be-all, end-all. But Donovan Mitchell lit it up in the summer league, and he's pretty good. And he's a perpetual all-star. He's not the first-team All-NBA, but he still is a very good player. Is there a chance, outside chance, that Filipowski could develop into that? Well, I want to give it a shot. See what he's got. And Bailey, gosh, I spent all winter last year at 4 o'clock in the afternoon watching Rutgers basketball. Yes. True story.
No, I know. There were 3 or 4 college teams we watched last year that we never watch.
Yeah. Right. I was calling up my cousins back east. Hey, you going to the game, man? What'd you think? Obviously because he went to Rutgers here, and he's a tantalizing prospect.
You tantalized by any of the other guys? Sensabaugh, Collier, Cody Williams, is he going to be better year 2? He's had a whole year to add weight and grow and all that kind of stuff. He's in an age where he ought to be doing that anyway.
He should be, yeah, for sure. I'm a big body language guy and just the way you handle yourself, and I want to see him, how he looks when he's just out there. What level of confidence? Because I don't think that Hardy – you can sort of give him confidence, but ultimately it has to come from the individual. If the individual doesn't believe in himself, I can have all the psychologists, and we can get Riley Jensen on if we wanted to talk about all these things, and ultimately the individual has to decide, he or she, when it comes in life, but also comes in an athletic standpoint, can I do this, man? Now, I've been browbeat. I was fourth option in Colorado. I mean, I was way down the pecking order, and I was injured most of the time, so that was a wasted year. And this past season in the NBA, that was a wasted year. What am I going to do here? Where am I going? Where am I going with this? And what am I going to do about it? Not what Will Hardy's going to do about it, not what his brother's going to do about it. I could argue that his brother could have a bigger influence than anybody who's ever received a dime on the Jazz payroll. And so what is he going to do? How is he going to approach it? How is he going to look? Now, I don't think he's going to be Scottie Pippen or anything like that in his second year. Maybe probably never. I get that. But how do you just look? What is your physical appearance when you step out on the floor? That's what I want to see.
You are not alone there, because that's a pretty good draft pick. I mean, it's not a top 5 pick, but you don't get to draft in the top 10 that often either. And there's plenty of good players who are picked in that range.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
What do they get?
Yeah, show me something, man.
Something,
and just show me. Don't be hanging your head if you miss a shot or two. I guarantee you're going to miss a shot or two. You know what I mean? Just tell yourself, I belong here, man. This is what I do. This is what I've done my whole life. This is what I'm doing. This is what I'm going to be doing for the next 10 years, maybe longer. And that's where I'm at. This is my job. And I got here because people thought that I should be here. Jerry Colangelo, right? Phoenix guy all the way through. Interviewed him a million times. He loved to tell you how great he was. He told me every time I interviewed him. Right? One time he called me when I was at my parents' house. Nobody had cell phones back then. And, boy, my parents were really impressed because they answered the phone. Yeah. Who's calling? Oh, this is Jerry Colangelo. and he said that the Suns had just barely started. So we're going way back, 40 years or whatever, 50 years. And he's 28 years old, and I think he's working for the Bulls. And they fly him out, right? It's in January to be the GM. He's thinking, oh, my gosh, this is awesome, right? And they ask him, why do you think that you should have this job? And he turned around and he said right back at him, he's 28 years old. He said, well, you think I should have this job. That's why you paid for me to come out here and interview with you.
That's the kind of stuff you love. Yeah. You love that stuff. It's 28-year-old just popping off right at him.
Right.
Don't ask me your stupid questions. You should already know the answer to them.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're the ones who thought that you brought me out here.
That's a good answer.
Right. And obviously he's a legend there. He's the godfather of the Suns, and he always will be. He'll never not be. And he's in his 80s now. But, yeah, he's held in such high regard. And then the other thing I want to see your prophecy that you gave 10 years ago that Yusuf Nurkic is really a good NBA player, because I haven't seen it yet.
That's all over. Ever since he got hurt, his numbers have – he's had a couple big injuries, and he's just –
Oh, what could have been, man. He could have been Greg Oden.
He was a solid big.
Oh, he was. But if he hadn't been injured, I don't even know if Jokic is even in the league.
Oh, please. I think that I'm a little surprised you haven't mentioned Bryce Sensabaugh in all of this. And maybe you rank him third and you just went to the first two and you haven't gone down the list. But that's a guy who started shooting the ball a lot better at a time when shooting's at a premium, and obviously that's what they give you the point, that's why they give you points. You got to be able to shoot it. But you can't just be a shooter. He got a lot better shooting last year, but are his rebound numbers ever going to move? The assists ever going to move? And he doesn't have to be a defensive stopper, lockdown guy, but you can't have people going at you all the time either. That's a little embarrassing.
I don't know what to think of him. I'm not wasting any time thinking of him because I don't know what Hardy sees in him, because he'd give him 25 minutes, he'd go for 18 points, and the next game he'd give him 12 minutes, 13 minutes. And so they got to figure that out.
I think all of that is about being a well-rounded player.
Okay, and how's he changed?
He's living for the FGAs.
Well, then you are who you are. And what difference is that going to make for his game? What do you expect to see that you haven't seen?
Well, if he'll get better at anything other than shooting. Because you're right. I mean, Hardy the minutes were all over the place, and so there's other stuff you got to do, are you good at the rest of the game? Or are you just out there living for the FGAs?
I don't know. Ainge once told me that it was all about the
FGAs.
Big
That's
Ainge.
why he's on the roster, because Danny thinks.
Of course, he was joking when he said that.
He was, but there was a point behind it.
FGAs, baby, FGAs. I still remember it.
All right, DJ and PK, it's 97.5 The Zone. Coming up, got to talk a little football. A Roy High guy, a Corner Canyon Charger, getting his shot in the NFL. Jaxson Dart next. Stay with us.
It's game week for the Cougars, and the KSL Sports Zone is getting you ready for kickoff. It's the Big 12 opener for BYU as they hit the road for a rematch with Coach Prime and the Colorado Buffaloes. Listen all week long for the best coverage of Cougar football. Then catch college football Saturday game day at 10 a.m. with a postgame show immediately following the game on KSLSports.com. Your home for the best coverage of BYU football is live on air, online, and on the KSL Sports app. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
The band of the day today, Breaking Benjamin and 3 Days Grace. It's brought to you by Live Nation for all the live concerts and events in 2025. Check out livenation.com. And, of course, it's a Wednesday. It's a Win Tickets Wednesday. Any chance we're going to be giving away tickets, Jock?
Yes, we are.
Excellent. All right, that'll be coming up in about an hour. All right, PK, Jaxson Dart, Roy High School to Corner Canyon to USC to Ole Miss to the New York Giants bench to the New York Giants starting quarterback position. How long will it take for Russell Wilson to get benched? Well, the answer is 3 weeks. Your expectations for Jaxson Dart, given that the Giants have been down for a while now and nobody does this by themselves?
To go in there and prove that he belongs and not look overwhelmed. The same thing I was talking about with an Ace Bailey. I've seen Jaxson Dart, as we all have, play many times. I've talked to people who've coached him. I know people who've coached him very well, obviously, and they believe he's got this skill set. And I don't want to see what happened to Zach Wilson, and it's an unfortunate situation, although Zach is still in the league, and hopefully he gets his chance some point down the line, which I think he will, to just look like I'm an NFL quarterback. You know, your team isn't set up. I understand that. But just look like you're an NFL quarterback. And I think it's important. He is a sort of a forerunner for the state of Utah. You know, you look at University of Utah football program. If you're a really good offensive lineman there, you're an NFL guy, right? And the scouts go, we know Utah, great defensive backs, great defensive linemen, great offensive linemen, some decent running backs, right? And so you establish that rep.
Yeah. If you can play linebacker at either Utah or BYU, the NFL's probably looking at you.
Yeah, and so I think it's important. Jaxson Dart is sort of carrying the banner here for quarterbacks in our state because there hasn't been a lot of them. And you want to say, and your boy the Herd used to crack on Zach Wilson nonstop because he found out that his mother's family was loaded. You know, the JetBlue and all that. Nealman's, I think that's their name. And,
David Nealman.
Yeah, and so he would crack on it endlessly about he was just a little spoiled rich kid, and so he wasn't used to hard times, and he's out there in Lily White, Utah, and all that stuff. And that stuff sort of feeds off of itself here. And now if Dart can come in and just ball out and look like, hey, man, nothing was given to me. You know, I've been able to bounce around a little bit, but everywhere I've gone, I've won the position. And he had to leave SC because Lincoln Riley was bringing in Williams. He's bringing in his own guy, right? Williams wasn't going to come in there to sit. He was going to come in there and play. And he played fairly well at the college level. We'll see how he develops at the pro level. But who's to say Jaxson Dart can't be better than what Caleb Williams is or whomever, right? He was drafted later in the first round, but so what? So was Lamar Jackson, and we can go on and on that stuff. So I just want to see him come in there and act like, hey, I got this, man. You know, I don't know what level of winning and losing they're going to have. That remains to be seen, who they're playing and all that. I mean, the Giants haven't won in a number of years here, but do that because I think it bodes well for our state, and then it also bodes well for himself, and then, of course, the Giants.
You know, there are so many quarterbacks who have come out of Texas and Arizona, modern day. If you're the quarterback of modern day, it's just assumed you're really good because you wouldn't have gotten to that job without being really good. And you're right about, as high school football evolved here in the time that we were here, more and more guys got recruited, but it seemed like the last position that got recruited, don't worry about getting to the NFL, just to be a starting quarterback in college, it seemed like by population, this league was producing a lot of players at a lot of positions, but zero at quarterback. Now, somewhere, and we can talk about this with Riley coming up in the next segment, somewhere 5 to 7 to 10 years ago, that started to change and guys started to get recruited. And now there's multiple guys coming out of Utah high schools that are playing at different schools. But the pro thing, that's like a glass ceiling that has to be cracked. And when it does, man, as much as you like to think everything is just done on talent and everybody's got the eagle eye and they can look at the numbers and the stats and the skill set and all that, there's still some assumptions made.
Yeah, I think there are.
And if you're a good quarterback, in Utah, you're not looked at the same way as if you're a good quarterback in Texas and Arizona. I mean, you recite Arizona quarterbacks endlessly. There are so many guys coming out of Arizona, and they don't all hit. A lot of the guys you talk about are guys who transferred 2 or 3 times and are still looking to get their chance. But there have been enough stars out of Arizona that, they get a second look there. And they didn't hear a decade ago. I think it's changing, and this could be another step in it changing.
Okay.
All right, DJ and PK, we'll talk to Riley about that. He will join us next. Look ahead to BYU's conference opener and the Utes with a major injury. How can they replace that production? We'll talk with Riley next. Stay with us.